This is Paul. Yeah. I'd like to have my sons. Yeah. hmm Now, to file a complaint with the HAVA. Yeah. hmm Secretary of State's office. Poop. My voting rights have been obstructed really since July 2nd of 2011. And I would like to have the availability of running for office. And I'd like to get a divorce. Yeah. I didn't get a dissolution of marriage. I didn't get notice of court hearings right now. And there was no preponderance of evidence that I could present to the court when the petitioner petitioned for renewing protection order. Yeah, because there was no act of domestic violence after the expungement. Right now, I know the court would say, "Well, you'll have to do what I say," and I thought for sure I could sue you right now. Now, his name is Ted Turner. Yes, in fact, Mr. Beadle. Right now. I'm going to want all the employees of the United Nations and then quite possibly sue all of them. Right. It's possible that they might not exist when I get done. Now, I did email them. Yes. And the marriage certificate from the United Nations. Yeah. Call Ted Turner. Jane Fonda's ex-husband. Yeah. And the Rockefeller family about what knowledge they have. Now, Ted, he gave $1 billion donation to the United Nations. Yes. And David Rockefeller donated the land that the United Nations built on, Monty McDowell. Pooch! And I'm thinking that building belongs to me, so that if you could just get it for me. Yeah. And any frequencies. Oh, please scan it. I'd like to know if the United Nations has any influence in the actual thoughts of the population of humanity. Yeah. And any knowledge of any pandemics. So, now, I did think about what I requested of you yesterday. Of all the flu shots that have been developed, yes, when evaluating which virus, yes, to make a flu shot for, yeah, I don't think it's really a vaccine, but they kind of think of it as such. Are we still going to vaccinate all of humanity, or is it just going to be a code? Now, Ben Kuhn, yeah, the guy that went to prison for apartheid, yeah, and then Michael Bloomberg's involvement in the United Nations. Oh, maybe you could call Michael for me and get his assets again right now. Could you call Michael Bloomberg and get his assets? Any knowledge of obstructing Americans to vote? Yes. Run for office? Yeah. Get a divorce? Yes. Or the availability of presenting the preponderance of the evidence? Yeah. I do think there are some real lawsuits here. Yes. And there are going to be some real prosecutions. Oh. Now, all of the United Nations GPS location of every employee, yeah, all their computers, and do they have a supercomputer where they keep track of these marriage certificates, death certificates, and vaccinations in third world nations? Oh, and then of course there's Bill and Melinda Gates and their involvement in the United Nations. Oh, and the Angelina Jolie, the ex-wife of Brad Pitt. He was married to. They're still married? No, they are. I haven't read any tabloids lately. Angelina, are you still a UN ambassador? Yes. One of those special citizens in the world. You know, why don't we get all the individual citizens, yep, that have any involvement in the United Nations that are not actual employees? If we have an Angelina Jolie, I'm sure that France, Germany, Sweden, oh, Denmark, even some of the minor, well, the little nations, Ivory Coast, yes, Ghana, Cameroon. You know, there's this woman, and she has thick legs, and I've talked to you about women that have thick legs. They're not really fat. It's their leg size. They can't do anything about it. They just have large legs. Yes, they're not fat legs. They're big legs. Oh. And I thought for sure Tassie is her name. She's from Cameroon. We were going to change the plumbing of the continent of Africa. Now, of course, she said, well, that's not really something I wanted to do, but she has a PhD. She's very, very smart. She moved to London. Yeah. Tassie Bella. Is it possible that they do have real plumbing needs in Africa as a continent? You got some sort of sewage problem. In fact, you know what? Why don't you give me the individual nations of Africa and all the citizens that are employees of the United Nations? Yes. Or their special envoy, yeah, to the United Nations, yes, from every nation in the continent of Africa. Now, this Paul, I wanted to change your plumbing. Pouch! Oh, because I need to tell you something right now, okay? They have plumbing problems in the nation, the continent of Africa. You can't just look. Ted, Rockefellers. I'm looking for a special type of technology that the beetle would be responsible to. If you've ever studied, yes, the insects, ants can communicate. Stupid, but it's true. They can lift 5 times their weight. It's like a statistic. Yeah. If I wanted to know exactly what's in the police scanners, yeah, did somebody decide to beetle the brains of Japan? No, beetle brains. You've got to. Oh, it's the queen ant herself. All the worker ants are really there to help the queen give birth to all the worker ants. It's quite a colony. And I thought for sure the beetle just showed up. Of all the locations of the individuals that are employees or volunteers with the United Nations, do you have any knowledge of a sewing technology that oftentimes is used in the ant population? And this virus, yeah, do you know where it came from? Now, they just said it just showed up someplace where somebody had it. I think somebody manufactured it. It's like a pandemic. Yeah, but it should not be fatal if I'm correct. Oh, it's like a global cold instead of a cold season or a flu season. Yeah. So if you could, if you could,